What's going on, Who Dat Nation? Harrison Graham here from Chat Sports. Before we jump into today's episode of Saints Now, I want you to answer a question for me, or really not even answer a question, just spam them in the comments. Your all-time favorite Saints player, and why is it Drew Brees? Kidding. Maybe some of you guys don't think Drew Brees is your favorite Saints player. That's your opinion. That's why we want you to let us know in the comments who is your all-time favorite Saints player. Get your comments down below, and we'll go ahead and kick off today's show. You're watching New Orleans Saints Now by Chat Sports. Like I said, I'm Harrison Graham. Be sure to hit that subscribe button here on Saints Now by hitting that big red button. Daily videos is what we're shooting for, but we're not quite there yet, so go ahead and subscribe. Okay, let's go ahead and get into today's New Orleans Saints news and rumors video. The franchise tag window has opened, so let's go ahead and talk about that here, because the Saints could be looking at a player to tag, as teams are able to start tagging players as of yesterday. They'll have until March 8th to use the tag or not. Prime candidate for the Saints is Marcus Williams. We'll talk a little bit more about that possibility in just a moment. But first, some key dates to kind of bookmark here when it comes to the franchise tag. Window opened yesterday, like I mentioned. March 8th is the deadline to use the tag on a player, which, again, you don't have to. It's optional. And then July 15th, so if they do tag someone, basically that buys the team 4 extra months to get a long-term deal done. So say Marcus Williams gets tagged, that would buy the Saints in Williams' camp, 4 more months of negotiating time to get a contract extension done. So that's kind of the background. Now let's talk about why the Saints may or may not tag Williams here on today's show. Obviously, he's been a good player, was on the tag last year. You're going to do it a second time. A lot of players don't get tagged twice, but with the Saints being in their salary cap situation, they may have to go this route if they can't get a long-term deal done for a second straight year. Now, obviously, getting a long-term deal done is ideal. I think this is a player worth keeping for the long haul. If he gets tagged, the Saints will owe him almost $13 million, which is a lot of salary cap hit there for a safety. Last year it was $10.6 million, but I'm also, not willing to let him hit free agency if I'm New Orleans. That's a risk I don't want to take, because this is a key player on this defense. Had 74 tackles last year, a couple of picks, 8 pass breakups, a forced fumble, does a little bit of everything for this Saints football team, and which is why, they're heavily considering tagging him for a second straight year. And, honestly, he probably wouldn't be too happy about getting tagged for a second year in a row. Who knows if he would consider a holdout if that were to happen, but we've certainly seen that around the NFL in the past. Marcus Williams is a player I would keep in New Orleans, but like I mentioned earlier, the cap situation New Orleans is in right now is not the best. I mean, that's an issue they're going to have to address at some point in time. Should the Saints tag Marcus Williams? Should they hit him with the franchise tag? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Get your votes in down in the comments section. Now, what I will say is if they don't tag him and he hits free agency, teams are going to line up. I mean, Marcus Williams is one of the better free agents to be if the Saints don't tag him at the safety position. Jesse Bates is out there, but I don't think the Bengals are going to let him loose. Tyrann Mathieu is another option. That would be an intriguing name if they lost Williams. Bring Mathieu back to the great state of Louisiana, where he, of course, played his college ball at LSU, so maybe that could be an option. But make no mistake, Marcus Williams will be a guy that teams are going to want to target. So this is a guy Dennis Allen and company have to make a decision on, and I'll be very fascinated to see what that decision ends up being. I'll tell you what, if anything happens related to Marcus Williams' contract, they let him go, franchise tag, we'll make a video about it. So make sure you subscribe. Don't miss any Saints news, rumors, updates throughout the offseason. Free agency less than a month away, and we will have you covered here at New Orleans Saints Now by Chat Sports. So don't miss any of our coverage. All right, let's keep it moving here. You look at some teams that Williams could go to. These have all been teams that have been linked to him. Some teams with cap space: Detroit, Philadelphia, Houston, the Jets, the Colts. Come on, you don't want to go to the Jets. Come back to the Saints, Marcus. That's what I say at the end of the day. Now, tagging Williams is not ideal. Tagging anyone is not ideal. Why? Because their full contract is part of the cap hit. If you get a long-term deal done, you can backload it. What does that mean? Well, in year 1 and 2, maybe he doesn't count as much against the cap as he does down the road. Sure, you have to face that eventually, but if the cap keeps going up, which is what will happen, then it's not as big of a detriment to your salary cap outlook. So that's my thought on that. But it may be their best move. It may be their only move if they can't come to an agreement. So big couple of weeks coming up. Remember, March 8th is that deadline to get to tag a player. So we'll find out how much the Saints value Marcus Williams here in the next couple of weeks. Doesn't mean if they don't tag him, they won't bring him back, but it just makes it harder because other teams can pursue him. Subscribe to our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv with the offseason in full force and free agency just around the corner. That will be the channel for you to get more NFL news and rumors coverage. We've had a blast covering free agency and the draft in the past over there. And to be clear, our Saints channel right here would not be possible without our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. So subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. The Saints have hired a new wide receivers coach, and we're going to talk about it here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Kody Burns is your new wide receivers coach in New Orleans as the Saints have brought him on board. He is exclusively coached at the college level up to this point. Now he makes the jump to the NFL. No connection to the Sean Payton regime, so kind of a bit of an outside type of hire, and that's something Dennis Allen wanted to emphasize. Fresh blood, not necessarily bring in guys that Sean Payton regime on that front. So who is Kody Burns? You're like, who the hell is this guy? Well, I actually know him fairly well because I remember watching him play college football at Auburn. You see that note when he was a quarterback and wide receiver there. Got his coaching career started as a grad assistant under Gus Malzahn, by the way, at Arkansas State. Middle Tennessee's the wide receivers coach. Then he goes back to his alma mater, Auburn, starts as a receivers coach, works his way up to co-offensive coordinator, and then this past season at Tennessee is the wide receivers coach. And Tennessee had a pretty darn good year in the first year under Josh Heupel, so he's quickly moved up in the coaching ranks here at the college level. Was it a good move? Well, let's look at some of his accolades. He was a national champion at Auburn, so he knows winning. Like I mentioned, he's quickly risen in the coaching ranks at the college level. NFL's a different deal. I get that. He's sent a lot of players to the NFL. Young guy, what does that mean? Energetic. He's been around receivers. You know what else I like about him? He's played quarterback as well. And I like guys who have played quarterback who coach receivers because they see it from both sides. They see it from the quarterback side of things and the receiver. So he can kind of be like, hey, you need to run your route like this so the quarterback can hit you here, like that type of thing. So I think that's a pretty interesting tidbit there when it comes to Kody Burns. Now grade the hire for me. A, B, C, D, or F, or I don't know, type IDK. I don't know. If you're like, I don't know who the hell this guy is. This Harrison guy on YouTube isn't selling me. Well, that's fair as well. The reality is, we won't know for a year or two if it was a good hire, but at least on paper, give me a letter grade. All right, here's the deal. We're going to do a mailbag soon here on New Orleans Saints. Now, use hashtag Saints and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, we will not feature those questions. So hashtag Saints and then ask your questions, free agency, draft, trades, whatever it is. Get those questions in, and either me or Mitch or Tom or someone else here at the Chat Sports team will answer all those questions for you guys.